Hey, feel I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup. I hit the stage and leave with money that say stick up. She picture perfect, so I told him I'm a flick up. Feel I'm in the mood for a change up. I leave the city and return with my change up. They got amnesia, don't remember how they played us.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Spot Real Talk. My name is Tiara.
I'm LaWanda.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
And today we are back here to talk about another episode of BMF. This is season 1, episode 3, and it was titled Love All, Trust Few. And as you can see, me and Tiff, we rocking our Adidas. You know, Terry had the bowling party this week, so we had to pull up with our Adidas on.
All we need is our 50 boys chain. Since Kato was a little suspect, y'all might need some more girls in the crew.
Yeah. So, we're candidates. You can hand us the 50 boys chain.
Right.
50 girls. So you guys just hang tight and we'll go ahead and get discussing on this episode and get into all of the good stuff. We are back. Like I said, we are talking BMF. This was the 3rd episode of the season, so we're starting to get, a little more skin in the game now. It was definitely a little, it's tough for Meech in the situation that he's in now, with Terry just being shot and injured, and then all of this other stuff going on with Pat. And so, like this week's episode, it seems like everything just keeps piling up on top of him.
Well, I like to say that at least at the very beginning, I think, what's the mom's name? Lucille?
Lucille, yeah.
Yeah, Lucille was on top of those boys. See, she took that big, thick leather belt. And she was, I mean, it reminded me of yesterday, but but she was on top of them. I grant her that.
Yeah, I mean, that whole dialogue was about Terry and Meech and how, like, if they went through something, they went through it together. And we truly seen that this week with all that was going on. We seen, from the previews last week, Pat roll up on Meech and he's demanding his money, setting timelines in place. I think they had a week to get it done. And he added an extra 10%.
6 days, yeah.
Yeah, so that was rough. And basically Pat told the driver, like, I'm trying to make sure they stay up under me.
Right.
Like he was ensuring
trying
it.
to step on their necks. You said.
Mm-hmm. And
and I like that.
I didn't get that from Pat that he would. I mean, of course, it's the drug game. So you got to be tough on your boys, every now and then. Yeah. But I think the ambitious nature that Terry and Meech are throwing his way is what's driving this.
Oh, absolutely. He sees their potential. And sees that they could potentially be competitors. So he was like, let me keep them in their place.
And unfortunately, that's not going to work for Meech. As we see later on, Meech kind of peeped a weakness.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So
I mean, that's cardinal rule number 1. You don't get high on your
own supply.
Cardinal rule. But, I have to respect Pat in a sense, trying to keep things tight in the organization. I don't believe that he would ever do anything to harm Meech. But, it would have to be something really serious. And, because he does look upon them as mentors, I mean, he
mentees, like little brothers.
But
business is business.
And them drugs that he's on, that can drive you to do some very irrational things.
Well, yeah. When I saw that, I'm like, okay, he that's not a good look, particularly after what Meech is, what Meech is about, and so
you never know. You never know the full dynamics of a person until you cross that path with them, and so I think I think the potential for him to be violent with them was always there. They just hadn't crossed that bridge yet, right? They had never been put in that situation to where they owed him or could, you know, potentially come up short. So they hadn't seen that side of him, but I think it was always there.
Business is business. I mean, I know he is fond of them, yeah, but you know, business is business.
Like, we're not friends.
Go ahead, Luanda.
He's like, we're not friends.
Right.
It's true. And when he rolled up on him at the strip club, he's like, oh, so y'all got time to have leisure. You wasting money. And even though that's not what they were doing, you know, I guess it's the image that was coming on.
So here again is what we see, lack of communication, because Meech could have said to him, I'm not here for pleasure. I'm here trying to get business. You know, we're trying to get XYZ out of here. And that's why I'm here. And maybe he would have, you know, allowed him to have that extra day instead of taking that day from him. But
I think he was just shook that the way he popped up, because it did seem like he popped up out of nowhere.
Yeah, yes. He did that. Yeah.
But isn't that part of the competitiveness? You never tell people what you put in the sauce, right? You may give them part of the recipe, but you don't give it all to them. So that could have been also it, right? That I'm not going to tell him exactly what I'm doing here and give up all my secrets.
Yeah, that's true. Especially if you're trying to get up from under somebody. You know, you don't want them to know your whole playbook when you do separate from them.
Well, I would have given him that. Particularly, you know, I think the big thing that Meech was able to conquer is with my boy Fonzo. You know, that was
Terry for real.
Oh yeah,
Terry had been talking about going down to the factory and catching those workers as you know, potential customers, and then Meech kind of like seeing that their setup wasn't gonna work out with the snitching security guard, and he thought quick on his feet when he seen that food truck. And so I was like, you know, these boys are sharp.
Oh yeah,
yeah they are. Yeah, they are.
You got to know how to, you know, roll with the punches and kind of pivot as you go.
Think on your feet.
Yeah, but it was a good business principle, right? That sometimes you just can't phone it in. Sometimes you have to be on site to really see what's going on. Trust what the workers are telling you, because had he not gone down there, he might not have seen that opportunity.
Right.
And even when he was talking to his crew about like trying to give them incentives with the Rolex watch, you know, I was like, okay, I see, you know, his hustle coming in. He's trying to motivate his crew, give them something to work towards.
That's what I said to him. I said, oh, he's trying to incentivize. And I said, and that goes better than trying to rule with an iron fist. And I think, you know, Ron and I, we talked about it last week about offline, about how the football players and how Tom Brady and them for his, you know, front line, he bought them Rolexes. Some quarterbacks buy their front lines, cars, all that stuff, incentivizing them so that they can be protected.
Yeah,
because negatives incentives don't work. All it does is make people figure out how they can get away from you, or you make yourself an enemy, and they still try to figure out how they can get rid of you.
And that's Pat's problem. You know, trying to rule that iron fist doesn't always work, particularly when you got somebody like Meech who, you know, his dreams are bigger than what you can throw at him. And I think that's where the line is drawn with Meech. You know, you can threaten me all you want, but I know what I want out of this game, and I'm going to get it. And so that's, you know, and Pat doesn't recognize that. But I do love the fact that Meech has a true business sense, and he's just working it. I love the way he's thinking. Well, as far, and Terry as well. I mean, I think that the two of them need each other, and I hope that, you know, we see a little more of it. They do get into these little scuffles every now and then, which kind of bothers me.
And they're brothers. I mean, you see the flashback when they're kids, they've been getting into scuffles. That's their dynamic.
Right.
That's their dynamic. And I think you speak about ruling with an iron fist. Terry is now trying to rule with an iron fist.
He doesn't feel respected in the organization. I mean, he just found out, you know, about Jame-mo, and him, B. Mickey and Meech have been keeping it from him. So he's like, y'all, when were you going to tell me? And so all of this stuff is going on. He feels out of the loop. Like he's not able to make decisions with him. So demanding that 50-50 partnership, I think it's deserving, because I mean, they're, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? They play well off of each other, you know, where one is lacking, the other one is there to pick up the slack.
Right. In fact, I always assumed they were 50-50 partners.
I thought they were too.
Because, you know, Terry has a lot to do with how that business operates. So, and there's no Meech without Terry, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I think it's because Meech was the older one. He was in the game first, and he kind of brought Terry along on the ride. And so Terry is still in school. He still has a lot of responsibilities. So maybe he didn't have a 50-50 stake in it because of, you know, all that he has going on.
Yeah, that makes sense. But, you know, you got to respect the game and respect those that are in it. And Terry has a lot to say.
Yeah, and I hope that their organization can stay together because Lamar is wreaking havoc on everybody.
He's got all
time now. He is. You know, I thought about our get the hands list. And I was like, on there. Yeah, Lamar is going to be like, I see like Tariq was in Power. We know Power. Tariq was a permanent resident of our who can get the hands list. And he may be one too. But I'm feeling like we might need to put Mo Cash Doll on there this week too.
Yes. I said this last week. I was like, I hope she doesn't go back to him. He was like, no, she ain't gonna go back.
Like we were giving her the benefit. I said last week that Lamar was putting it on her, and she was sucking it all up. And now
you said it.
And we see now that.
And one of our subscribers said it too. One of our spotters said it in the comments. Was like, no, she gonna go where the money is. She gonna go with who's on top, and is looking that way. And she even threatened to send Meech to the Bing and call the cops. I'm like, okay, she has to get the hands this week.
For sure.
Lamar has proven that he's a master manipulator. He knows how to people, you know what I mean? So he's just almost like they're just puppets and he's moving them around.
Mm-hmm. At least he's not a hardhead. So he took the advice and looks like he's doing well with it. He's got his daughter calling him dad. You know, he's in like Flint with Mo and he's happy. You know,
and the 12th Street Boys, I mean, they kind of don't have a choice right now because Jame-mo is missing. They don't really know what happened to him yet. And then Phil Mel is in the hospital. So it's like they don't have a leader and they have no choice but to roll with Lamar at this point because Slick is backing him.
Yep. And Lamar, it let Mel know that, you know, you better go along with the program. Because when he first went, I was like, oh, Lord, he about to kill this man.
That's right.
I thought he was going to kill him in the hospital. And I was like, now they knew he was brutalized. I was like, where the cops outside the door? Where's security? But, you know.
At some point, I'm hoping Flamel tells Meech or Terry, right? I mean, he threatened him and told him he had to leave, but I'm like, you can't leave and not tell somebody that it's Lamar that's behind all of these shenanigans.
Right.
I think Terry knows. Terry said it when he was in the hospital.
Yeah.
He was like, I think he shot me, you know.
And even at his birthday party at the bowl now, he was like, I think that he did all of this stuff. I think he's behind everything that's going wrong. I think he the one that shot me.
Yes, Terry was on it.
And he was ready to buck too.
Yep.
And Meech had to like hold him back. Like, not
but
right
I think Meech, especially going to the house and seeing Lamar at Mo's house when he's about to get the strap, I think he's gonna be ready to throw now. Because I think he's starting to see it clearly now.
Mm-hmm. And how about this whole situation with Kato? So
that's the big disappointment. No, that's a huge disappointment. That's a huge disappointment for me because
I'm wondering if she going, you know, end up standing tall in the end. Because basically, I don't know. Right now, she's looking real sus.
Yeah.
Because it looks like she used to work for Lamar, and then when Lamar went away, she started working for Meech and them, and so now he's trying to press her out for information. And her back is kind of up against the wall. So I'm wondering how she's going to handle that.
But to me, what I saw in that bathroom situation, it seemed like a sense of familiarity in the sense, because I'm trying to understand. No. I'm trying to understand once he got out of jail, how she was, you know, she capitulated to him very, very quickly in the bathroom. And it didn't seem like there was any resistance to him. And I understand.
Well, when she saw him lock that door, he also remember this is the same man that put Flamel in the dumpster. I mean, she is a woman, like she is. You can tell that she's tough and she can handle herself, but she know this man is crazy.
Yeah, but yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Next week will give me the answer whether she gets the hands or not, because right now she's very sus, and
I mean, she can get the hands this week, shoot.
Yeah.
Well, and then if she proves to be on the up and up, then we take her off.
Because I feel like she's already kind of said too much, you know.
Yeah, she did.
She was talking with him and saying, you know, I think there's some beef with B. Mickey and Meech. Yeah. And then, you know, he kept pushing for more. And I think he was asking about like stash spots and like all the inside information. I think she might be intimidated a little bit.
I think she is. She looks scared. She looks shook.
She just wasn't as surprised as I would think she would be if that was their first meeting. Because, you know, the first question she asked was, how'd you get up in here? And it was the subtlety in her voice. It wasn't a fearfulness. It was just that subtlety in her voice that kind of made me think, well, is she an actual plant?
Yeah, I thought that too when I first saw it, because I was like, you know.
That's kind of what it seemed like, but it's no way she's gonna be able to come back from that betrayal once they find out.
That's true.
Now, do you
trust her again?
Do you guys think B. Mickey is onto her? Because every time she's questioning him, I know he likes her and he's feeling her, but he always kind of shuts her down early before she can get anything out of him.
I think
like even when they were standing outside at the corner and she was like probing him, and this is like the second time she's done that in the past couple of episodes, but she keeps probing for information and he always is like very quick to shut her down.
I think
even when she was asking last week, like, is there something going on that I should know about? You know, I want to be able to move up in this organization. And he was kind of like, nah, everything's good. Like, we brothers, we are.
Yeah.
I think he has this, it's a character issue with him. I think that he thinks Kato should be at a certain level. And, you know, I don't think he appreciates the fact that Kato wants to move anywhere in the organization. You know, I just think he thinks it's a bro kind of thing. And, you know, he just wants to suppress her. I don't think he's on to her, you know, because I think his nose is wide open anyways.
I don't know, because he likes her, because I saw the way he stood up for her when that security guard pretty much was calling her a prostitute, a hoe. And he's like, I know you ain't just call her a hoe. So you can tell that he has feelings for her and stuff. I think he definitely shut her down when she started trying to ask about the situation between he and Meech. And he was just like, regardless of what, that's still my man. He shut it down quickly because I guess he just didn't want to see. I think he did not want the appearance of discord either at the top, because that's not good for business either.
Right.
That's not good for business, and also loose lips sink ships. So I think they made a decision between the two of them never to speak of it again. Even telling Terry, they didn't even want that to come back on them in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
Okay, true. Now, this whole situation with Officer Brian, I mean, he has caused some disarray in the household. You know, coming in to question Terry about the whole incident, and it comes out that he has this Mercedes, which, you know, prompts LaWanda to start lying for Terry.
She jumped to it for him, didn't she?
Yeah, I mean, she held it down.
Yeah,
she did. And Pops is on him. So even though we thought that it was going to be a big reveal about him finding out about Terry, and it ultimately was the other thing that, you know, the house is paid for, and they're no longer in foreclosure. He onto them. He onto Terry. He onto it now, especially the Benz thing. He's like, okay.
Yep.
He figuring it out.
Yeah, I think that I just don't know what to say about that situation. I appreciate LaWanda stepping in and kind of taking the bullet for him, but it's only so much you can do, especially when she was being questioned by herself. It's kind of like, oh yeah, so what your uncle say? I want to meet him. And I'm like, he ain't gonna stop until he get proof, you know, this uncle.
You saw they put a story together.
Yeah, so it was like really sharp how Terry was able to like pick up right where she left off. Like they were on the same page with the story, and it was like in sync. So I think Charles, it was like good enough to stop him from there, but he still is skeptical about the whole situation.
Yeah. He's been Mr. Skeptic all afternoon in this program. I mean, he you know, he doesn't trust Snoop Dogg and his heavenly host. So, you know.
And would you? I mean, what's they call him? Pastor
Pastor Troy?
No,
not Pastor Troy. Pastor, what's
like
his name?
It's like Slick or something like that.
Yeah, I think it is. But you know, how can you trust Snoop Dogg as a pastor anyway? I don't know.
What you call pimps in the pulpit.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's like he was holding her hand and inviting himself over for breakfast, and it's like, what is this about?
Yeah.
So you can see Charles kind of side-eyeing him.
Yeah,
and then, you know, later on in the episode, once he found out the mortgage had been paid, he was like, tell the church, take it back. And he like kind of automatically assumed that, you know, Pastor
they took up a collection.
I think
he must have felt like while he's at work, a whole bunch is going on that he's just not aware of. That everybody knows what's going on except him, and that they're lying to him and keeping information away from him.
Well, you know,
and that's a bad feeling too, as somebody that's trying to give it your all to keep your family supported, and you come home and it's just nothing. Your best is not good enough.
Well, you know, in a lot of relationships, the two major causes of a breakup are sex and finances. And, you know, he has, I don't know if he has one or the other, but, you know,
communication.
And that's number 3. And it's just that, you know, as a man, you come home and you see some other guy, you know, and I'm thinking that the reason he was so angry when he got home was because he was so bet on the fact that that money came from the church. And what he saw earlier, you know, his wife holding the pastor's hand and inviting him to dinner or whatever it was, you know, all that gets kind of clouded in your head, and you start putting 2 and 2 together, and you think you got 4, but you really don't. It's a negative number.
Well, Tiara touched on a point last week when she talked about Charles' headship being usurped. And I think that's how he feels too. Like, you know, because he said, like, oh, you want Meech to be the head of this family. Well, you know, then I'm out of here. Like, the son paying the bills while he's trying to work. The pastor is up there holding his wife's hand and inviting himself to breakfast. I mean, he probably feels like his manhood is being challenged.
It is.
And it is being challenged. But, you know, as I said to you offline, you know, and not to say that this is a viable means for him, but, you know, you either work 2 full-time jobs to get that money in there, because working the double shifts or a shift every now and then isn't going to really cut it, as Lucille told him earlier. And I don't, you know, it's sad that he would have to work 2 full-time jobs, because like you said, Tiffany, when does he sleep? And if he thinks he got problems now, he'll really have problems when he's never in the house. But, you know, what do you do? And we talked about that last week. You know, your back is up against the wall. And I love the way Meech put it. You know, what did he say?
He said, you could be holy and homeless.
Right. And those are your choices. And, you know, and neither of them are good choices, but it's the lesser of 2 evils. So which one do you pick?
I think you try to mitigate outcomes, right? Of course, you don't want your boys selling drugs, but if that's what they're going to do, you take the money and you do something legitimate with it. So at least you take your wife and your daughter out of harm's way.
Right.
And maybe he's going to come to that understanding, because right now he's losing the battle, you know. And that's a very pragmatic decision to make. You cannot be homeless and then still try to keep your family together, because if you lose that home, you're going to lose the family.
Exactly.
Yes. And I was about to say, we seen the same theme in Snowfall with Franklin's mama, because she had the same deal. And then when you were saying, like, take the funds and do something legit with it that can sustain the family outside of the drugs, I think that, you know, I don't know if we're ever going to get there with mom and dad, but it seems like that's the route that, you know, a lot of people in those same situations has taken. Like, I don't want your dirty money, let me clean it.
But, you know, if he actually paid, let's say he pays the mortgage off, okay, and you got a clean slate, and now you got something to operate with, you know, making that one-time payment is going to cause a problem with Charles, because then, you know, you've come to this point of existentialism that says, am I going to keep allowing him to pay the mortgage, or do I put a stop to it after the first payment and be right back where we were in the months ahead? So he's at it's a quagmire for him. He's going to have to, you know, do something. But my thing is, you know, yes, it's dirty money, but your back is up against the wall, and you got to protect your family. You got to protect your wife, got to protect your kid, you know, the daughter. And if this is all you got.
Yeah, it sucks. Just feeling like like I said, like you're unappreciated in your own household. And I think LaWanda kind of expressed that same thing with Terry saying, you know, like, I'm doing all of this for you and you just dismissed me out the party, like made me walk to the car by myself. I get home and you just roll in here all late. And I think she was just feeling like, dang, this is the thanks I get.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think there was a legitimate gripe considering the tension, right? And the potential for violence that he would let her walk out by herself. So I think I felt her on that.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah. And in fact, and she had a great point. You know, she's all in. He has to keep her that way. You know, she has his back 110%. And you know, he's got to start treating her a little better than that. You know, she's not.
And she said she is the mother of his child.
Right. She's not.
And he needed to be treated as such. Yeah.
Right.
That's true too, because there's levels to it.
There's levels, right?
Okay.
Which just seemed like he did to a certain point, because he definitely wasn't interested in that whole strip club atmosphere. He was like,
I said that too when I was watching it. I was like, oh, he ain't really tripping about the strip club. He wasn't, you know, really on the other chicks or whatever. And you know, I was talking to my son about that. He was like, yeah, because he wondering why they there wasting money. I mean, wasting time. Like he trying to get to it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, because at that point, their life really is on the line because Pat's ready to execute.
You know, I was thinking about Pat, and now that we know that he's, you know, sampling, I'm thinking that may be the way to get him up out of there.
I was going to speak about that in like our predictions, because I always thought that Meech and Terry would have to kill him. Like
I thought so too.
Way. But I'm like kind of just took care of the problem for himself.
I think so, because he may overdose, or they might have to slip him something. I mean, you know,
or Lamar might catch him slipping.
Yeah.
I don't see.
I think there's several ways that could go.
I saw that gleam in Meech's eye, you know, and if you ask me, he's going to slip him something that takes him out.
He might, but you can tell that he was really disappointed too,
because
he looked up to Pat, so you can see that he was really, you know, like, wow.
Yeah, disappointed, but this presents an opportunity.
He observed. That was like a ghost moment.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, and so the other thing that they have going against in this episode is the whole thing with Brian, because he informs Meech that a new task force has been put together and they are getting serious about cracking down on the local drug dealers with this new chief of their department. So that's rough, and it's still not looking good for him with that Jame-mo situation. You know, he's like, what? Where he at?
Yeah, and he has to convince his partner Lopez that, you know, which Lopez isn't gonna, you know, he's not biting. So he's in a dilemma because he's got his partner that really is not on board with him, and now he
might have to take the partner out or something, because the partner looked like he ready to snitch at any minute.
Yes, he looked happy to hear about all them new resources.
Yes, indeed.
So that's going to be an issue for sure. And then if that murder, you know, I mean, they said that B. Mickey got rid of the body and threw it in the river, but for some reason, I feel like that body's going to turn up.
Oh, it's going to pop up. And
they're going to realize that, you know, Detective Brian was the last person that had him, and it's going to be a huge blowback on him. So it's just a bad look all the way around.
And that might be, as we saw the excerpts from next week's show, I think Meech is arrested or something, you know, or at least he's put in the, one of them, he's put in the patrol wagon. So it could be that it blew back on Detective Brian, and Brian had to, you know, save himself. So that'll be interesting to see how they handle that.
Yeah, that's the dangerous thing about having a cop on your team, is because, you know, they could switch on you at any moment. They're going to look out for self first. Right. And so when it comes down to you or them, they're going to throw you under the bus every chance.
Every time. But Detective Bryant, I don't know, he should have been on the list too, but interesting character.
Go ahead, LaWanda. Looks like
I was going to say, one of the things I appreciate is when they go and they show the old footage, so you really kind of understand the context in which all these events were happening. And you could kind of see how all of these events were coming to put pressure on them. right? The election of the new mayor, the coming in of the task force. They were going to be searched. Like, what's the other song? The streets are looking for a body. They looking for a body. They looking for someone to pin all these crimes on.
Yeah, that's a good point too, because that having that mayor in place really protected the drug dealers at a time, because it was like you couldn't come into this area. And so it seems like all the task force were building up in the surrounding areas, but they could never kind of infiltrate. And so with this new task or this new chief of the department, it kind of like negates all of that. Like, that's no longer the case. All the rules are out the window that used to exist. So it seems like everybody's fair game at this point.
Yeah, and that was that Nixon, Ronald Reagan crackdown on, on drugs. And so here we go. We got the state troopers, we got the DEA, the FBI, all want to infiltrate on the Black community, as if we started all that as to begin with. But I don't know. We do know that at some point that, they do well. And I have to say, given the circumstances, I'm good.
I had to tell you some of the chatter that I saw online. The chatter online, some people thought that B. Mickey was the one that shot T. Now, I don't agree with that theory at all. I think it was Lamar. And I think that's playing out. But, I mean, what do y'all think? Do you think that's a possibility?
I would just have to ask, why would B. Mickey shoot T in the first place? I mean, that, because if he is as, close to Meech as he says he is, what would be his purpose for taking out T?
Because as long as Terry's around, he'll never be number 2. He'll always be number 3. So that's one reason. And the only way I could rock with that is, why wouldn't they? My question is, we know who Lamar is and we know what he's doing. So why not show that he's the one that shot Terry? Right. Because he's the usual suspects. He's the one that we immediately suspect. So I think that does pose a question as to who done it, because they didn't show the face.
Right. Right.
I like the idea. I mean, I like the mystique behind it. It sounds good. It makes some reasonable, some sense, and it keeps us on the edge. Because if you stop to think about it, Lamar just got out of jail, and it just doesn't make, I don't know, it doesn't make a lot of sense for him to come right after Terry.
I mean, it kind of does.
It does.
The burger joint smashing it.
Actually, it does. Yeah, and then they explained who he was. He was somebody who used to rob, gangsters and everything before he went in. So that makes perfect sense. I mean, he reminds me of Omar from The Wire. Like, yeah,
nothing was taken. I mean, he didn't rob him. Nothing was taken. It was just. It
was to cause discord. It's the cause to do
same
all
thing
what's
with
happening.
Mel. Like, he didn't really have a reason to do that, besides the fact that he wanted him out the way.
Yeah,
exactly.
But that's taking a chance, because I thought he was going to go into that hospital and kill him, because even though he scared the hell out of him, and
he beat him into submission. Like I said last week, I was like, if you put him in if somebody put you in a dumpster, you would think twice too. And then now this same person shows up at the hospital, and he had no way to defend himself.
No, but I'm saying when he gets out, and if the pack is as tight, and maybe it isn't, maybe the pack isn't as tight as as they appear to be, because I don't know the guy
that was tight with Jame-mo. Jame-mo's gone.
Yeah, but the other guy that was giving Lamar a little hard time, I don't know his name.
That was from Mel. That was the
No, the one at the beginning of the episode when Lamar was kind of staking his claim on the crew.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He was pressing up on Lamar, and Lamar had that look like, I guess I gotta take him out too. And
yeah.
And you know what? He may be right.
Yeah. I think some more bodies are definitely gonna fall. I'm just not sure if it's going to be, due to them beefing internally, or if there's going to be beef across crews, which is very likely. And then also people was getting snatched up in the previews. Looked like a lot of people was getting arrested.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem might take care of itself. I don't know.
But that cross, that's looked like Kato was firing somebody. So that's gonna be interesting to see who it is. I hope it's Lamar.
I don't know. I think they got to keep that one going because that adds a little bit of controversy to the episode.
Yeah. My son thinks that that T gonna try to take out B Mickey.
I can see that too. Because I can see Kato getting taken out too, honestly. Because I feel like they kind of just tolerate her. And Terry, he really didn't appreciate the disrespect coming from her either. So she already rubbed him the wrong way.
Yeah. He's not feeling her, and then he's talking about ruling with an iron fist. I don't think she would get many chances with him. And then
I feel like Terry is so, I was gonna say, I feel like Terry is so observant. Like he would probably pick up on something like that.
And if he find out that she's a mole or anything with Lamar, she's gone.
Oh yeah. Even if he finds out that she was in the bathroom with Lamar, he's not going to give her a chance to explain. No explanation needed. You are a mole. Gotta go.
Well, I don't know. I'm looking forward to next week. I want to see what it holds. I want to know if Charles is really going to leave for good. That's something that still remains to be seen. I don't think he would just abandon his family like that.
I don't think so.
I think he's going to try to put up a good front for like a couple of weeks or maybe a few days, you know, and let them see what it's like without him.
He's going to go to the bar, have a few drinks, get plastered, and then he's going to come back home.
Bring his butt home,
Bring his butt home, and he's going to see the reality of things. You know, I mean, if it were me.
Because where's he going?
Exactly. Where are you going to go? You don't have any money to go anywhere. So
I was going to say, if you cannot take care of that household,
right.
Where are you going?
Right. So my thing is go get drunk, come home, and realize that your mortgage is done and you got a reprieve. Because you got to look at it that way. He has no other way of looking at this.
Exactly. You mad, sleep on the couch.
Sleep on the couch.
The other thing I thought about with Charles is because Meech is working up at the factory pushing these drugs, and we know that Dad works at GM at the factory. And so I'm like, are they gonna cross paths? Is he gonna see Meech at the food truck one day and be like, "What the F you doing?"
Oh man,
he might see Terry. He might see Terry. His golden boy.
That's right.
Now that would be good.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to work with. You know, that would be something to see. Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing what else goes down. I mean, every week we get another piece to the puzzle and things get more kind of like convoluted, mixed in with each other. So I guess we just gonna have to wait and see.
But one more thing, I love the fact that Lucille, you know, stepped up to Charles. You know, you're not my daddy, you're my husband. And, you know, and so that's going to calm his flame a little bit. You know, because she put it to him in a manner that
I mean, it wasn't her fault. She didn't do any. She didn't ask for the bill to be paid by Meech.
Right.
It was kind of done, and so all she could do at that point was try to clean up the situation as best as she could.
Exactly.
And so it's like, do I tell you and have you upset with my son and cause him more dysfunction in the family, or do I just keep my mouth shut and pray that you don't find out?
Well, you know, she handled it. I think she did a good job.
Yeah. So shout out to Lucille for holding down the family.
Yeah, when he raised up like that, I was like, I know he's not about to put his hands on her.
No, I can't see that.
You know, I don't.
Terry was there too.
Terry was there too. Yeah.
I don't think he's that tight, but it was just he was getting a little puffed up for a minute, and I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, him and Terry would have been in there rumbling.
Oh yeah,
I can't see that.
He might have got whooped up too, because you see Meech got snatched the first time he tried it. So Terry would have probably been whooped up too.
Yeah, it ain't good to be beating on somebody with one eye. You know, I mean, that's not gonna work.
Yeah. So I think we got a lot to work with already. It's only the third episode and we have a lot to work with. There's a lot of different ways things can go. So I like how they have laid out the story so far, keeping us engaged, making us, think on our toes and kind of roll with them. It's kind of like we're in the situation with them because they're getting thrown all these obstacles at the same point as we are kind of finding out more about the story. So we're kind of forced to, you know, go through the trials with the characters. So I like the storytelling, and I appreciate how we have a lot to work with. It's not, you know, even though so many people are familiar with Meech and kind of like his name, they don't necessarily know the story. And so I think that the fact that we are kind of getting to find out slowly but surely, I like that trajectory of the show. It gives us longevity too.
Yeah,
I do too. And you can tell when Meech left Mo's house and that encounter with Lamar, the look in his face, I was like, he might be getting ready to turn up because he's, you know, starting to realize some things like, okay, you know, she ain't loyal. This dude is now back in the game, and the 12th Street Boys and stuff, and he probably thinking, yeah, I'm gonna have to change my strategy here.
Yeah, Mo ain't loyal. I think she's more scared of Lamar too than anything. So she might have felt like, okay, I'm kind of like stuck in this position because if I don't, he's gonna keep coming around. He might threaten me or my child. So it's kind of like, dang, I might just have to roll with it at this point.
Yeah, but I see something a little more in Mo with Lamar. She likes him, and it's just something about Lamar that she just can't seem to get enough of. I don't know what it is. I don't, you know, I can imagine, but I don't know what it is. But she just very easily allowed him into the house again, and you know, she seems to be comfortable with the fact that her daughter's calling him dad, and
I can't understand that one, so I don't know.
Yeah, what can you do?
But shout out to Eric Kofi Abrifa though, because he's killing that role as
Yes.
He's killing it.
Yeah, you know a character is doing a good job when they make you dislike them throughout the whole show. It's like, dang, this again. So yeah, shout out to him. Do you guys have any closing remarks to add? Any other predictions you want to throw out there?
Nope, we're looking for our 50 Boys chain. That's all.
Yeah, we'll be waiting for those.
Right.
Okay. Well, I enjoyed this episode. I hope everyone watching has enjoyed our discussion. Please drop down in the comment section and let us know your thoughts about this episode and give us your predictions as well for next week. Also, make sure that you subscribe to our channel and like this video. Click the notification bell as well so that you get alerted every time we post. We are on social media on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok at The Spot Real Talk. So give us a follow there as well. And if nobody has anything else to add, I think we'll call it a night. All right.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Down, levitate, going up, elevate. Watch me demonstrate. On time, never late. I grind, celebrate. No pump, fake, hesitate. I've been scoring every day. Champagne Perrier. Since 9-3, been in the box, now I'm stepping up to home. Like straight out the sand lot, now I'm plotting on the globe. I work hard, I show love, that calm and steady grind. Got this far, I go hard, let God take control. I was starving skinny, now my weight up, got no energy for haters. See you trying, see you later. I'm shooting for the stars.